Hey friends, I want to talk a little bit about some things I've been seeing online and also from other agents talking about the housing crisis. And I'm going to throw my hat in the ring and kind of get back to my roots here. So when I started in real estate, 2003, we had a housing run up, right? The prices started to get pretty high for that time. And then we had the housing market crash. And then, of course, we had low interest rates that were lowered by the government. So everybody got so used to 3% and 2% and whatnot that as they have risen in the last few years post-COVID, it's a shock. So let's go back to basics here. I am a mom of millennials, okay? I am a parent who recently went through the process with one of my own children buying a home. So a few things that I want you to know. Number one, you don't have to put 20% down. That's number one. Number two, there are a variety of programs out there for mortgages. There's FHA, 3.5% down. We're going to talk about that in a minute. They have 5%, 10%, 15, 20% conventional loans. Of course, we have VA. The thing I want you all to understand, if you are a first-time home buyer, and a first-time home buyer isn't necessarily somebody who is in my kids' chapter, right? Like 30, 35. First-time home buyer could be anyone, realistically, who has never owned a home. So I think that's also something to remember. There are a lot of people that rent. They like to rent. They're comfortable doing that. Wealth building, one of the best ways to build wealth is through owning property. So let's circle back to a few things. When I started off in real estate, I got to know down payment assistance programs. That's number one, city, county, state level. I learned about how buyers can be gifted money, whether that's through parents or someone else. The other thing is, if you have a job that has a 401k, there are many times provisions in your 401k program that allows you to take money out for a home purchase. You got to look into all of these, okay? The next thing I want to mention is typically you're not buying your forever home. So when we bought our home that we've been in for many, many years, yes, it was far less expensive, but we also had to do a lot of work to it. The owners were older, they died, and everything needed to be redone. So you cannot expect to get a home at a low price that's completely done, folks. So that is one thing that I have a conversation with my millennials in particular on sweat equity and fixing things and picking what projects you need to do every year, the big ones, okay? Have vision. Look through clutter or ugly paint or bad cabinets. You can get through that, okay? I've always enjoyed working with my first-time home buyers. And as a matter of fact, I'm working with one now. And so I think it's really important to understand that because of the nature of the housing market, when we had low interest rates and low prices before COVID, then we had low interest rates and the housing started to go up, up, up. Low inventory, low interest rates. Now we've got sky high prices. Then the Fed started making the interest rates go up, and they did it too fast. That's my personal opinion. It was a shock. It was stupid and whatever. That's my opinion. But when you have corporations, and we know who they are, that are basically their business model is to make this a nation of renters. How many times have you driven by luxury communities, for example, in Boca Raton at 18th Street and Military? Beautiful single family homes. Those are rentals, okay? There's so many rentals now that there's just no inventory and the prices are high. And interest rates are higher. And I say that because they're really still historically low. So I did a grid. I sent it out to my sphere of influence. If you want it, let me know, to show buyers and potential home sellers where interests were in 1980 and where they are now. And when you're in a single digit, like 6.5%, even 7%, that's not terrible. But because everybody gets so used to 2 and 3%, everybody just doesn't necessarily want to run with it. I think they are starting to more and more. And of course, the prices went up. So circling back to, there's a variety of loans you can get out there. You might have to pay some mortgage insurance. Hey, you can't get it all. You have to kind of pick your battles. So as I said to my kids, who I really wanted to move back to Florida, by the way, I said, don't bother. It's too expensive. I don't want anybody to be house rich and cash poor, right? And I would prefer to see my kids buy single family homes, not a townhouse at this point. That's my first thought. But the other thing that happened is here in Florida, especially South Florida, we have a condo crisis. With a condo crisis, which used to be realistically like a really good opportunity to get your foot in the door to own a piece of real estate, at a reasonable price, that's gone now because of all of the assessments that have gone on since the Surfside condo crash 4 years ago. So now you've got a monthly maintenance fee of, I'm seeing minimum of $600 a month in most places. Assessments that are still going on for concrete restoration and things that were never taken care of by the previous boards and whatnot. Shame on them. And new laws that were passed about reserves. So now what used to be, you could get a condo for $250,000 and you'd pay $300 a month. Well, if you can find a decent one for $250, good. But it's probably going to be a 1-1. Nothing wrong with that, because what I say to my first-time home buyers in particular is, buy something. Try to buy something that you can live with. It doesn't have to be your forever home, but it could be something that could be an investment long-term for you. i.e., when my buyers are looking, I do suggest that if they can find something that has a rental opportunity after a year or two, that's good. Because you never know, life happens, you move, things happen. So I wanted to jump on because I've been seeing a lot of different, commentary from different agents and whatnot. And I feel that, first of all, not everybody has 20% to put down, but that shouldn't stop you. There's a lot of ways that you can get a different type of loan and percentage down. Now, the other thing that first-time home buyers in particular have to be very careful about is, what is it going to cost as far as the process? Because you'll have an inspection, you may be paying for an appraisal, you're going to have closing cost fees, you're going to have, certain fees on top of the down payment that you're putting down. Okay, so just keep that in mind. The other thing is, just thought process, is a lot of the boomers, and I am an old Gen X young boomer, may have opportunities out there for seller financing. So that is another way to get your toe in the door. And so I like to say to my buyers who are buying for the first time, think like an investor would. Try to get in, seal the deal, do some sweat equity, and stay in the property for XYZ, and then decide what you want to do. So I hope y'all don't mind me chiming in on this, but I've actually had years of experience with the first-time home buyers from way back, and I still put that hat on. I sat on the Affordable Housing Committee for the City of Boca, the Affordable Housing Committee for our Board of Realtors, the Affordable Housing Committee I think I was on for the Florida Association of Realtors. We have an affordable housing problem in this country. We have a housing crisis in this country. It has been going on for quite some time now. And it's just, it's really frustrating. And when you're a mom or a parent and you see that your kids are spending a ridiculous amount of money on rent, by the way, with really, and I'm going to say it, shitty landlords most of the time who just want to raise the rent and don't want to fix anything, it's really frustrating. So like I said, when my kids were talking about coming down to Florida, and I said, don't bother. It's too expensive, and you're not going to get what you want. Let's look where you are. They happen to live up in the Pittsburgh area. And Pittsburgh is a fantastic town, fantastic area with beautiful communities. And, we had a really good agent that I'm friends with, and we got the deal done, right? And it's something that they're going to really enjoy. Is it going to be their forever home? I don't know. Can they hang on to it forever? Yeah, they could. Because, it literally, and this is one of the things you have to know, Florida, South Florida, very expensive. Very expensive. A lot of times when I'm working with buyers, here's what happens. They want to live in Boca. They end up not living in Boca. They go south or a little north, a little less expensive to get either land or less maintenance fees or whatever it is. You have to remember, every part of the country has different price points. So up in the Pittsburgh area, we were looking at homes in the $300,000 to $400,000 range, very reasonable and doable with first-time home buyer budgets. Because, the other problem is with inflation, and so everything's a lot more expensive than it used to be. It's a lot more expensive than it was when my husband and I purchased our homes, and it's very frustrating for me to see that. And I know helping my kids' friends, either buying, selling, it gives me a lot of joy. But I also really do put on that first-time homebuyer hat, and I'm like, well, let's do the math and let's figure this out. What kind of mortgage is going to work for you? What do you qualify for? Because you have VA, FHA, different conventional. Shop around and see what the rates are. Work with really good lenders. I will tell you, we worked with a shit lender on my kid's house, and we fired her. And the lender we ended up with was amazing. He saved the deal. Okay. So who you work with matters, and that is right across the board. Title company, lender, insurance. One tip as well. The other issue that we have in Florida is the ridiculously high insurance rates. So during your inspection time in particular, please do me a favor. Pinky swear. You are going to shop around for insurance during that time frame, because if you wait, it can, and you really don't know, it will throw off your ratios and you may not qualify for that loan. So you need to shop the rate. You need to make sure that the big stuff is in decent shape. Roofs, right? Electrical panels. We have issues with electrical panels. They're replaced pretty easily now. The wind and, all of the above. So you want to make sure that when you're doing your inspection on the property that you're purchasing, that at the same time, you're getting quotes for your homeowner's insurance. Okay. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'm with Real Broker. I love a good real estate niche, and first-time homebuyers was my first and my most passionate niche, I think. Over the years, I've morphed into listing niches like probate and seniors because, again, I like getting into the problem-solving aspect of it. But if you follow the news, I'm going to tell you right now, 60 Minutes a couple years ago did a whole thing on these companies, and they're ballsy, and they're like, oh yeah, renting is the new home ownership. Are you freaking kidding me, dude? Did you really just say that on national TV? Because it's not, and it shouldn't be. And so go back and take a look at that lovely piece of journalism. Good for 60 Minutes for that. So I hope this was helpful, and if you have any questions, let me know. I'm happy to help you out on the buy side, the sell side. I'm here in beautiful Boca Raton. I work in Broward and Palm Beach counties, and I just, like I said, I'm very passionate about what I do, and I know what I know. So we will talk soon, and watch some of my other videos. I think you're going to find some very good tips and information for if you're buying or selling. See ya.